Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be going over Pemdas, solving equations, and solving simultaneous equations for algebra review for Physics 1010. The first part is Pemdas, and this is the order of operations when solving equations. The first step is parentheses, next is exponents. Third and fourth are multiplication and division, but we do those at the same time, left to right. Lastly, we have addition and subtraction. We also do those at the same time, left to right. If we look at our first problem here, if 8 times 2x minus 7 equals 15, what is x? Well, we see that the 8 is inside of the parentheses, and the parentheses are connected to this 8. So we need to get rid of this 8. In order to do so, we see it's being multiplied, so we need to do its inverse, or divide. When we rewrite our problem, we should end up with 2x minus 7 equals 15 over 8. Now we see the x is not connected to the 7, so we can get rid of it by doing its inverse, or adding it. And we should end up with 2x equals 15 over 8 plus 7. Finally, the x is still connected to this 2 in terms of multiplication, so we can divide it to get rid of it. And we should end up with x equals 15 over 16 plus 7 over 2. If you want to go a step further, we can also simplify these two fractions into 1. Now, in order to do so, we need to get a common denominator. The common denominator between the 16 and the 2 is 16. And in algebra, to keep the same equation, we're only allowed to multiply by 1. Now, 1 is the same thing as 8 over 8, which will allow us to get 16 on the bottom of our second fraction. 2 times 8 is 16, 7 times 8 is 56. We should end up with 15 over 16 plus 56 over 16. Finally, when we add these, x should equal 71 over 16. The next problem for the equation AB plus C, quantity divided by D, equals E, what do A and C equal in terms of the other variables? If we start by trying to get A by itself, we see that the A is stuck in parentheses that are being divided by D, so we need to multiply both sides by D. This will give us AB plus C equals E times D. We're trying to get A by itself, and the A is not connected to the C, so we can get rid of it by subtracting it. And we now have AB equals ED minus C. Finally, this A is still being multiplied by the B, so we need to divide both sides by B. And now, A should equal ED minus C all over B. If we want to get the C by itself, the C is still in the parentheses being divided by the D, so we also need to multiply by the D on both sides to get rid of the parentheses. We'll be left with AB plus C equals E times D. Now we're trying to get C by itself. C is not connected to anything, so we just remove what's left on the same side, and we need to subtract the quantity AB. C should equal ED minus AB. That's about it for solving regular equations. For the final part of this video, we'll be looking at solving simultaneous equations. Now there are two ways to do this. We can either add or subtract our equations, or we can use substitution to put one variable in terms of another. For either way, we're trying to get down to one variable, so we need to get rid of one variable. If we can add or subtract these equations, we can get rid of one variable and only be left in terms of the other. We'll start by doing that. We'll write out our equations on top of each other to add or subtract them. Now we can see here, if we add our top equation to the bottom, we won't be canceling anything out, but we can multiply the top entire equation by the number 3, and this will cancel out the x. Or if you'd like, you can multiply by 2 to cancel out the y. Now when everything's distributed, the top equation will be 3x plus 6y equals 21, and the bottom equation will be negative 3x minus 4y equals 1. When we add everything together, the 3x and the negative 3x will cancel out, the 6y and the negative 4y will give us a 2y, and the 21 plus 1 will give us a 22. To get y by itself, we need to divide by 2, and y should equal 11. This gives us one variable, and to get the other, we just need to plug y back into one of the equations. We'll take the top one. And after simplifying our equation, we need to subtract 22 from both sides. X should be negative 15. Now, if we want to use substitution, we need to get one of the variables by itself in terms of the other. We'll take the first equation. Now, to get x by itself, we need to subtract the 2y on both sides. And x should equal 7 minus 2y. We take what x is, its value, and we plug it into the other equation. Make sure to carry over any negatives. Now we need to add the 21 to both sides to get y by itself. Divide by 2, both sides. And we see that y is 11, the same as our method of adding and subtracting. Thank you for watching.